They have combined for 8 national championships since 1991 and have met on the biggest of stages. Tonight, Coach K looks for another win on his way to 1,000, while Ryan Boatwright and the defending national champion Huskies look at the Blue Devils and superstar freshman Jahlil Okafor. It's UConn and Duke next. Tonight's game is a part of ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic, a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. Welcome to the Izod Center here at the Meadowlands, East Rutherford, New Jersey. UConn and Duke, who have met 9 times before in some very, very important games, and this game certainly has a big game feel and atmosphere to it. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, happy holidays, and glad you're with us. All you have to do, Jay, is think UConn and Duke, and some great memories come to mind.
And the memories that have been made in the NCAA tournament, neither one of these teams have played each other on their own campus.
Yep.
So it's all been neutral courts. And those 8 national championships that you referenced, I mean, who's been better than UConn since 1999 with their 4? Amazing.
And of the 4, 3 of them were won by the head coach and Hall of Famer Jim Calhoun, who is with us in the building tonight. And Coach, when you think of Duke and UConn, what comes to mind?
Well, you know, UConn's got to play well tonight against a great Duke team. But I'm back here, and all of a sudden I started sweating. I said, I'm nervous about TV. No, I'm much more nervous about the game. You get this close to the action, you want to jump in. But honestly, playing against Duke is great for UConn. And quite frankly, UConn playing against Duke is great for them. So for both of us, it's a great thing. And it should be a heck of a game tonight. I can't tell you who I'm rooting for, but you probably know, right, Jay?
And the crowd, for what it's worth, seems to be pretty much split down the middle here in New Jersey, and it is a lively crowd. Let's take a look at the Sonic Showdown. Coach Calhoun talked about great action. We're going to see some great action inside today.
Well, great matchups all over the floor, but especially inside. Amita Brima coming off a 40-point game against Coppin State, obviously a career high. And Jahlil Okafor had 25 points and 20 rebounds against Elon. And Okafor is going to be the focus of everything that Duke and UConn do in this ball game. Okafor, when he catches the ball at 6'11", 270 pounds, he is as fast from the catch to the release as any player in basketball, let alone college basketball. He is very decisive when he gets the ball down in the post. He's got great hands, tremendous feet, and he's getting better at getting low post position and deep into the paint. On pick and rolls, he rolls to the basket hard, and he gets the ball up quickly. He has, and really, Dan, at 270, he's got the feet of a ballerina. His footwork is absolutely spectacular.
The good news for Connecticut, they're about as healthy as they've been all season. For more, here's Andy Katz.
That's right, Dan. For the first time this season, UConn has the full roster of players that they thought they would have in the preseason. Omar Calhoun will make his season debut tonight. The last 3 practices, according to the staff, have been their best of the season because this team is finally ready to go.
All right, Andy, thank you. Let's take a look at the UConn lineup. It's Kevin Ollie, the 3rd-year head coach of the Huskies, and Rodney Purvis and Boatwright have both been battling ankle injuries. Boatwright's been playing through it. Purvis missed all of one game, part of another. For Mike Krzyzewski's Duke Blue Devils, as always, 3 freshmen in the starting lineup: Tyus Jones, Justice Winslow, and Jahlil Okafor. And let's not overlook the senior Quinn Cook having his best year as a member of the Blue Devils. Duke in white, Connecticut in blue, and we are underway here in New Jersey, and it will be Duke getting the first possession of the game. We've got a Final Four caliber officiating crew here tonight. Roger Ayers, Carl Hess, Brian Kersey, and truly in a building that used to host NCAA tournament games all the time as Brima comes up with a block. Jay, this has an NCAA tournament feel to it here tonight.
And Amita Brima getting a foul right out of the gate after blocking that shot by Justice Winslow. He tries to take a charge, and that's when his timing is absolutely impeccable as a shot blocker. But Brima, you're worried about foul trouble with him, and you certainly don't want him picking up a foul on trying to take a charge. You want him getting him in a situation where he's guarding Okafor.
So 12 seconds into the game, Kevin Ollie doesn't want to risk Brima picking up his second, and he has put his big man on the bench. We will see for how long as Philip Nolan, the junior out of Milwaukee, checks in for the Huskies.
When the ball goes inside to Okafor, it'll be interesting to see whether UConn, here they do, to bring the double.
Duke swings it. 3 no good for Cook. Okafor with an offensive rebound, held ball, and it'll go to UConn.
At the start of this season, when Jahlil Okafor got to Durham, there was a question mark as to just how good of a rebounder he would be. Now, he's not one of those guys that's a natural rebounder, I'll tell you what, he has turned into a truly outstanding rebounder. He's averaging 9 a game and about 4 on the offensive end.
He had 20 rebounds against Elon on Monday. 25 points and 20 rebounds. 10 of them at the offensive end. And now a UConn turnover.
Both these teams are going to try, Dan, to bring a lot of pressure on the other. Duke's a vastly improved defensive team from last year to this year.
How about this matchup? The freshman Tyus Jones, the senior Ryan Boatwright.
Boatwright plays about 37 minutes a game and can go all day.
Jones knocks down the 3.
It's so difficult to guard this Duke team because you come off of someone to help and they can score. You kick it to them, they're ready to shoot. Tyus Jones just ready to shoot when the ball arrives.
UConn just 4-3 on the season. 2 of the losses on last-second 3-pointers. 1 to Texas, 1 to Yale. They also lost on a neutral court to West Virginia as Boatwright puts the Huskies on the board. Quickly down to Okafor. That's an offensive foul. So each starting center has picked up an early foul.
Offensive foul, boy. He put that arm out, and that's why he got the call. He just knocked into him with his chest. But the truth is, like, you can't fall down like that unless you're struck by an automobile. And as big as he is, that's one thing we got to get under control in college. The flopping is totally out of control.
Rodney Purvis looking better. That ankle's getting better as he leads them up the floor. And it's Daniel Hamilton, the freshman from Los Angeles and an outstanding talent. And then at the other end, look at Duke getting down the court in a hurry as Emil Jefferson will head to the free throw line.
That's twice after made baskets that Duke has beaten UConn down the floor. But that young man, number 5, Daniel Hamilton, is a pro. He knows how to play. He's athletic. He's good with the ball. He can really shoot it.
He's coming off a game against Coppin State this week, James. 11 points and 11 assists in that game for a 6'7" forward, a wing guy, really.
And he could have 14 or 15 assists, but Grima got fouled a number of times off of his passes.
Grima picked up a foul 12 seconds into the game. He is on the bench. So Philip Nolan finds himself in a big spot early in this game, having to defend Jahlil Okafor, 1 of 2 for Jefferson. Duke is undefeated. They are 9-0. They are ranked 2nd in the country. Purvis the pull.
We're coming with 1-2-1-1, 3/4 court pressure.
Double again on Okafor. Nearly stolen on the gamble by Purvis. Open on the wing. Tyus Jones got a chance for a 4-point play.
It's hard to believe that Tyus Jones is 18 years old. The second pass after passing it out, if you're going to go for that steal, if Rodney Purvis goes for that steal, you got to get it, because otherwise you are leaving one side of the floor playing 2-on-1. And Tyus Jones shows a maturity that is way beyond his years. He's unflappable out there on the court.
Well, how good was he in the game up in Madison that we did? The Duke-Wisconsin game, he was terrific against Michigan State and against a good Army team as well, as Cook picks up the foul. This freshman class of Jones, Okafor, and Winslow has been absolutely everything and more than Mike Krzyzewski could have hoped for.
Well, as a class, they're averaging over 45 points a game and shooting 54% from the field, which is about what Duke is shooting overall. But, you know, to have a guy in Jahlil Okafor shooting 65% and as reliable as he is inside, it's quite an anchor for any class.
Hamilton can do a lot of things from up top. This time he's going to drive it. Winslow stays with him, and Okafor comes down with a rebound.
That's one thing that Hamilton's got to improve upon, and that's seeking out contact and picking up a foul in that situation, because he had Winslow beat.
Winslow tries to back him down at the other end. Okafor had it and lost it to Boatwright.
Well, you bring it down, it's gone.
And a reach-in foul going against the Blue Devils in transition.
You know, Dan, there's not a player in America that takes more contested shots and makes more contested shots than Ryan Boatwright. I mean, he is an outstanding basketball player that I haven't seen any defender yet stay in front of him. But it's amazing how many shots he takes with a hand in his face.
Of course, last year he played alongside Shabazz Napier, who was the Cousy Award winner, the most outstanding player in the Final Four. Last year he was kind of Robin to Napier's Batman. Now Boatwright is Batman this year, and he's got a lot of help, but the ball's in his hands all the time.
Well, the problem is he's Batman and Robin.
Yeah.
He has to be Batman and Robin right now. He needs a couple more Robins out there.
And they're hoping that maybe as Purvis gets healthier, gets acclimated, the transfer from NC State, he can give them more. Doesn't get the bounce on the jumper, gets it back. And going right up, but Jefferson got a piece of it.
Pretty impressive there not to foul.
Okafor, tough catch, got pushed, and he finishes.
What a catch. And how quickly, Dan, did he get that ball from catch to release? That was not an easy ball to catch. It was an Odell Beckham catch. Wasn't quite that good, but it was pretty good.
And Kenton Facey with the push and the foul there. And again, Connecticut going without Brima after his early foul, so he's been on the bench since the 1948 mark. Only played 12 seconds. Okafor at the line. Rashid Suleiman is into the game for Duke.
And Okafor has handled those double teams pretty well thus far, passing it back out.
Off the fingertips of Purvis, out of bounds, as Marshall Plumlee will now come into the game for Okafor.
It seems that Mike Krzyzewski takes Okafor out every 3.5, 4 minutes, gives him a little bit of a rest, then gets him back out there.
Purvis out, and Terrence Samuel, a sophomore from Brooklyn, is into the game now for the Huskies. Of course, a lot of the members of this Connecticut team were part of the national championship group from a year ago. Boatwright most notably.
Well, they're just all in vastly different roles, including Ryan Boatwright, being asked to play the point and to score.
Winslow, long jumper, no. And another rebound for Boatwright. How about him at about 5'10"? He's got 4 already, and he averages better than 5 rebounds a game.
Well, he sticks his nose in there and rebounds. Most guards stay on the perimeter. He doesn't.
Hamilton, no. Plumlee kicked it. Carl Hess seeing that, so it's going to be Connecticut ball.
With Terrence Samuel in the game, he can initiate offense. He's not really a point guard, but he can play some of the point to initiate, and that allows Ryan Boatwright to work off the ball where he can try to get some open shot. What a move. Oh, goodness. So quick.
Hamilton for 3. Rebound down to Facey. Over Plumlee for the bucket.
UConn is really getting in there on the offensive glass and getting some opportunities. And look, they are really getting out the pressure. They're not content to sit back.
Suleiman misses the 3. Facey skies for the rebound.
Facey really hunts the ball on the glass. Solid rebounder.
Much bigger role than he had a year ago. Samuel. Hamilton. Now Boatwright.
Nice pass.
Facey again on a great dish from Ryan Boatwright. UConn back within 1. Hand off to Jones. Floater is there.
Kid's got everything. Never changes expression. He may not be the fastest or the quickest, but he changes speed so well. Makes great reads.
And he's got 8 of Duke's 11. Blue Devils by 3. Samuel all the way, and a foul by Plumlee. Terrific start here to the Izod Center. Duke and Connecticut, with the Blue Devils leading by 3 in the early going. Tyus Jones red hot at the outset. He's got 8 already, and Jahlil Okafor. Check out the hands, the spin, and the finish. Duke up by 3 in the early going. You're watching the ACC on ESPN.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. The Acura Oh What Fun It Is to Drive event. And Wendy's, proud sponsor of the 2015 John R. Wooden Men's Player of the Year Award.
In the biggest game ever played between these two programs, Connecticut and Duke met for the 1999 National Championship. And UConn led by Richard Hamilton, Khalid El-Amin, Ricky Moore, who's now an assistant for UConn, Kevin Freeman, who was on the UConn staff as well, beat an equally talented Duke team 77-74 to win the national championship.
In a game where UConn doubled the post and doubled Elton Brand and did a very good job. They wouldn't let the ball come to the weak side after that double. And you're seeing some similar action in this game with UConn trying to double Jahlil Okafor in the post.
Okafor back into the game for Duke. Brima back into the game for UConn, having only played 12 seconds so far in this one. Obviously, it is critical to UConn that Brima not pick up a second foul.
Well, the second foul isn't as much of a, you don't want to pick up a third.
He might not get the opportunity to pick up the third in this half if he picks up the second.
It's just a question of how coaches want to do it.
Yeah.
Jim Calhoun famously didn't play another Okafor in the 2004 national semifinal against Duke after he picked up his second, left him on the bench, and it worked out pretty well for UConn in that one.
And by the way, Emeka Okafor, the player of whom you speak, is a distant cousin of Jahlil Okafor. There's a travel called on Suleiman. And Connecticut was interested, as everybody was obviously, in recruiting Jahlil Okafor, but he elected to go to Duke and has been one of the very best players in the country in any class. There's a travel on Samuel. Might have just gotten his feet going a little bit too quickly.
Yeah, but both those calls were very similar, with players giving a shake one way and moving their feet before they were able to put it down.
Matt Jones has checked in for Duke. Brima defending Okafor. Missed three by Matt Jones, and it's out of bounds to the Blue Devils. Matt Jones has done a very nice job shooting the ball this year. Last year he came in with a reputation as a shooter, didn't shoot it well, did a lot of other things well, and he's got a much larger role on the team this year.
Well, he's knocked in 10 threes, and he's an excellent defender and brings a ton of energy off the bench. He was starting early in the season before they started games.
And a foul before the shot going against Connecticut. It's Brima. It's Brima picking up his second. Got a game for you on December the 27th on ESPN2 to tell you about. Georgetown will take on Indiana at 2 o'clock Eastern time. That game also live on Watch ESPN. And Brima goes right back to the bench, Jay. He's played less than a minute in this game, and only Kevin Ollie knows when we'll see him again.
Well, you wonder, leaving a player out of action for an entire half, what that does to the player. Oftentimes, when Jim Calhoun did it with Emeka Okafor, you're doing with a guy that played a lot of basketball.
Cook knocks down a three.
Well, you go under a screen, and Quinn Cook is looking to fire. He has had a great year.
He's shooting 41% from three and averaging better than 14 points per game. The score may dictate if Kevin Ollie leaves Brima on the bench for the rest of the half as well. Brima's coming off an incredible game against Coppin State. 40 points. 13 for 13 from the floor. Look at this. Everything but the finish on a spectacular attempt there by Boatwright.
He draws so much help, that opens up the offensive glass, and UConn's going to have to get some of those offensive rebounds to get some easy baskets.
Double again on Okafor. He kicks it to Jones. And good recovery there by Hamilton to keep his man in front of him.
Well, you want to make sure, if you can, to make it difficult to get that ball out on ball side.
Rejected by Nolan. Hamilton pushing. And Purvis draws the foul on the drive.
Well, when Hamilton comes up with that ball, and he's an excellent defensive rebounder, that was an easy rebound to get off the block shot. But UConn's going to want to push it. They've got to find a way to get easy scores without grinding it out in the half court for an entire ball game.
Hamilton will inbound. Sam Cassell Jr. is now into the game for Connecticut as Boatwright takes a rest, probably just until the under-12 media timeout.
And one of the rare times he ever comes out. The least he has played in any game this year has been 35 minutes.
Wow. And he's been playing through an ankle sprain as well. Did that in the game against Texas, but about as tough a kid as you're going to see in college basketball. Hamilton. Cassell can't get the shot off in the corner.
Well, Cassell is not the type of guy that's going to blow by, so you can try to put as much pressure on him as possible.
Shot clock at 8. Purvis digs in that shoulder and finishes.
But what a strong move by Rodney Purvis. And he has played against Duke before when he was at NC State.
And that's going to be Connecticut ball. Suleiman is arguing, and I think Suleiman's got a case. I think after Hamilton knocked it away from Suleiman, it hit Hamilton, but it's going to wind up being UConn ball.
Well, Hamilton doing a good job of getting a hand in there and knocking that ball away. Well, you've got to keep a defender. You got to keep your body in between the defender and the ball. You show it in this kind of game, especially against a guy like Boatwright. Hamilton not known for steals as much as Boatwright. That thing's going to be gone.
Nolan right into the chest of Okafor. Misses the reverse. And then Okafor is fouled. 4-point lead for Duke. We're going to revisit when we come back one of the biggest games between these two programs, and it happened in this building 24 years ago.
Just 1 second left. Looking inbound, loops it far up court for George, who catches it, turns around, shoots, and he got it! He hit the shot, and the Huskies have won it!
Leitner accepts the ball from the official, gets it into Bryant, back to Leitner, he dribbles, takes the shot at the buzzer. Yes! 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 Scores to Denver! What a shot by Christian Leitner! The Blue Devils are headed for the Final Four.
So a buzzer-beating win for Connecticut in the Sweet 16, and then a heartbreaking buzzer-beating loss in the Elite Eight. Christian Leitner with a shot as Duke advanced on to the Final Four. Let's bring in Jim Calhoun. And Coach, because you won 3 national championships and because you're across the court, I feel brave enough to ask you what your recollections of that weekend were. I mean, from the thrill of victory and then 2 days later, the agony of defeat.
Well, I like pitcher number 1. I do. That pitcher number 1's great. No, it's a great play by 2 great players, Scott Burrell, take charge. And the other one was heartbeat. But, you know, the longer I coach in this game, you get those both ways. But I do have to say that was going to be our first Final Four, and I might have been counting it just when we took it out of bounds. But a heck of a shot by Tristan. We got ours years later.
Yep, you certainly did. Connecticut's won 4 national championships. Jim Calhoun, of course, the head coach for 3 of them. Mike Krzyzewski has won 4 national championships. That ball is saved by Tyus Jones. And then Jefferson called for the offensive foul. And this building, Jay, 6 years in a row from 86 through 91 was the host of a regional, a Sweet 16 round, and then the Elite Eight. And Duke was here 4 of those 6 years and advanced to the Final Four. Your first year in the Final Four, your senior year as a player in 86, and then they did it. Duke was also here in 88, 89, and 90.
There have been a lot of amazing games played in this arena. You know, back then it was called Brendan Byrne Arena, the Meadowlands. I'll tell you, that last play, Dan, was sort of a lesson for all players. If you have a chance to get the ball, you get it. You don't watch it go out of bounds. And Rodney Purvis watched it go out of bounds, and Tyus Jones got it. They were very fortunate that they came away with a turnover on that play and got the ball back.
And Purvis just traveled. That's the 4th turnover committed by Connecticut. Boatwright has indeed returned to the game out of the timeout. And a little pressure here for UConn.
Well, UConn's given Duke some different looks. The last time down, they went with a little 2-2-1 3/4 court pressure. Now back to full court man. And they are really out and pressuring 2-3 steps outside the 3-point line.
And they are feeding the post every trip, and Connecticut's trying to force Okafor to pass it out of there, double teaming him constantly. And now Winslow's called for the offensive foul.
Really nice job, 2 plays in a row by Philip Nolan, the lefty who's come into the ball game since Brima has been out. And Justice Winslow just had his mind made up what he was going to do, put his head down. And Nolan read the play, slid over to the baseline, picked up his 2nd charge in a row.
And the freshman of Winslow will sit down. Jefferson is back into the game now for the Blue Devils. If you're just joining us, Brima remains on the bench. He's played a total of 50 seconds in this game, picking up 2 fouls. Another UConn turnover.
So they're not being strong with the ball when they drive in. It's just being knocked away because they've been a little casual once they've beaten their man off the dribble.
Kick ball by Boatwright. You talk to Kevin Ollie, and although his team is 4-3, Jay, and he's about as upbeat a guy as you're going to meet, but they're 2 heartbreaking last-second shots away from being 6-1 and in the top 25. They were undermanned. They had some injuries against Yale. Not to take anything away from Yale. They played a very good game, and they beat them 45-44. Texas beat UConn by 1, and a very good West Virginia team beat UConn by 10. But Kevin Ollie still thinks he's got the makings of an awfully good team as Jefferson gets the bounce.
Emil Jefferson has done a very nice job, not just in this game, but overall in the season, of playing off of Jahlil Okafor. You know, he's getting used to playing essentially without being guarded. What UConn's been doing is they're basically playing man and a half on Okafor, and the extra half man has been guarded. The guy is supposed to be guarding Emil Jefferson. And Jefferson's taken advantage of a lot of the openings that he's seen as a result of that.
Cassell, fadeaway over Jones, tough shot. And back comes Tyus Jones now for Duke. Again, Okafor gets a touch. Lost it. 3-on-1 UConn. Boatwright will take it himself.
But Okafor in that spot, you put the ball down. You know, it's almost like Muggsy Bogues was out there in the old days. Boatwright was just hunting that steal.
Jefferson follows up his own miss. How efficient has he been? He comes into the game shooting 71% from the field on the season.
Well, he's finding those openings and playing off of Okafor so well. It's an excellent rebounder as well.
And Samuel is tripped. I think it's going to be Cook called for the foul. No, it's Matt Jones who's going to get called for the foul. Got an NBA doubleheader coming up for you tomorrow night, presented by State Farm. It begins with Portland and San Antonio, and then OKC and the Lakers, beginning at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time tomorrow night with NBA Countdown, and also available on Watch ESPN. Second foul on Jones.
You know, it's so important as you go down the last 8 minutes 46 seconds of this first half that you're strong with the ball. Both teams are going after the ball. Every foul that you can pick up, you're shooting free throws.
Breimer remains on the bench. He's in a role of cheerleader right now.
And they really miss him out there defensively and on the glass.
Look at this guy. I mean, Tyus Jones is a quality ball handler. And Boatwright is trying to make life miserable for him.
Well, when Boatwright decides that he's going to guard, and for him it's a decision. I mean, he's out there all the time. I mean, he's so quick, he's so active. I mean, he's a great college player. I mean, we talked about before, Dan, there's not a player in college basketball that takes and makes more challenge shots. And you got to be really good to take that many and make that many. And then defensively, I mean, he's had 2 big-time steals already in this game.
Averaging about 19 points per game, better than 5 rebounds per game, better than 4 assists per game, and almost 2 steals per game.
Leads his team in all those categories, and minutes.
And his numbers this year remarkably similar to Shabazz Napier's numbers from last year.
But you hit the point. Like this year, he doesn't have anybody alongside him that's filled the role that he filled last year. I mean, you talk about 2 breakdown guards that you couldn't stay in front of and that could make difficult shots and make plays at the end of a clock.
UConn was a 7 seed going into the tournament last year. And a lot of people forget they needed overtime to win their first game over St. Joe's, and then went on to win the national championship. Improbably so. They defeated Kentucky in the final. With deep position, and Okafor is fouled by Nolan.
That was just a simple little horn set. They hit one elbow, and Okafor just dives right down into the low post and lock Nolan down. You get positioned that deep, it's over. And that's why you tell a lot of big guys, post deep enough that you don't have to make a post move. And that's exactly what Jahlil Okafor did there. All you can do is foul him. And this is where he struggles. The only place he struggles is the free throw line.
Looked good there, but on the season shooting just 50% as Cook returns for Matt Jones.
He's got a nice touch. There's no way he's a 50% free throw shooter, but 9 games into the season, that's where he is. And I think he can get fouled a heck of a lot more than he's getting fouled right now.
Yeah, averages about 4 free throw attempts per game, and half of his free throw attempts came in 2 of the 9 games in which Duke has played this year. So it's been kind of feast or famine at the line for him.
He should be living at the line.
Yeah. Pressure on Boatwright, and he'll use a timeout.
Yeah, what an aggressive double team off that little ball screen.
We'll step aside. UConn without Brima right now, trying to hang in with the Blue Devils. Welcome back to the Izod Center here in New Jersey. Holiday Hoops presented by Kay Jewelers. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Andy Katz, and Kemba Walker, who of course was the star of the 2011 national championship run for the Huskies. They've had some point guards over the years, haven't they?
They've had everything. What does UConn not have?
Yep.
UConn is going to have to get somebody that scores outside of Ryan Boatwright. They've talked about getting a third scorer. They need to have a second one.
Omar Calhoun, his first action of the season, a sprained MCL in his right knee, keeping him out for 6 weeks. Cook, no, and the rebound down to Samuel. Also into the game, Rakeem Lubin, a freshman from Miami, number 14 for UConn, and he'll get at least a brief opportunity going up against Okafor. Lubin's a big body at 6'8", 260.
You go ball screen, double away, and then a circle cut off a stagger, and don't get anything. I'm not sure that UConn's going to be able to run its stuff and get what it wants. I think they're going to have to make breakdown plays, and here's the guy that can break down any defense by himself.
Wow. You'll be seeing that later on tonight on SportsCenter.
Now, how do you go over that on film? You know, you say, look, stay in front of him. Move your feet, stay in front. Okay.
5-point game.
That ball's got to go inside.
Nice pass. Whoa, and a lot of contact underneath. It is out of bounds to Duke. Jefferson's still down. Nolan down as well. Everybody appears to be okay. And we'll have
incidental contact. It's just incidental. My goodness. Looked like a football game.
Jay, how about what we just saw from Ryan Boatwright at the other end?
Well, Ryan Boatwright averages about 19 points per game. This young man can get his own shot anytime he wants. The ankle breaker. And he can finish, too.
Welcome back to New Jersey. Here with the Izod Center. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Andy Katz. Duke leading UConn by 5. And former Duke guard Kyrie Irving. First overall pick in 2011. Spent a year as the Blue Devils. Unfortunately for him, probably bad memories of this building. This is where he hurt that toe a few years ago against Butler. Watching Ryan Boatwright trying to do his thing for UConn against his Blue Devils.
Yeah, maybe an injured toe, but Ryan Boatwright's been breaking ankles in this one. But on the defensive end, bites on this pass fake and then gets hit with a screen on the little dribble handoff. And there's nobody there to step out. Gives up an open 3 to Quinn Cook. But when Jahlil Okafor gets the ball at the elbow, faces up, he is right there to take that ball away. As soon as it's down, it is gone. And that's a transition opportunity the other way and a score.
And Boatwright with 7 points, 4 rebounds, and a couple of steals, helping to keep UConn in it. Let's go back to Jim Calhoun again. Coach, what are you seeing out there tonight?
Well, I was just going to say, pace of play, the tempo was so fast early, I thought it favored Duke. I think we came back and ran well. They had to get back, and the game is settled in. And I'm not sure who it favors at this particular point. It looks like we want to play some half court, but we're going to need a lot of Ryan Boatwright finishing at the end for that to happen.
Boatwright almost turns it over. Brima remains on the bench. He's played less than a minute because he's picked up 2 very quick fouls in this game. Is this a moral victory of sorts that 14 minutes into the game, UConn's only down 5 without Brima?
I don't know that it's a moral victory, but it's good for UConn. Yeah. But they're going to have to get somebody else that's going to score because Duke is loading up now on Boatwright.
Well, Hamilton may be the guy, but he airballs the 15-footer when the shot clock violation gives it back to Duke.
You know, only down 5. Really, all eyes, 10 eyes for Duke have been on Boatwright every time he gets the ball. They can help and then recover and force somebody else to beat him. You don't want to get into just one-on-one situations against Ryan Boatwright because he is going to beat whoever's guarding him, and that's no disrespect to who's guarding him. And one of the things when you play against a player like Ryan Boatwright and you play UConn that runs so much good stuff on the offensive end, you had better talk and communicate. If you don't, you're going to have a lot of one-on-one situations. It's going to be very, very difficult.
Suleiman baseline. And UConn ball. Got a 4-on-3. Boatwright with a crossover. Purvis is open. And over the back is Nolan. And for Philip Nolan, that's going to be his third.
And that's 90 feet to the free throw line. UConn's just going to have to knock down some of these open shots. You're not going to get a better look in transition than Purvis just got. And you got to make those shots. You can work 35 seconds into a shot clock and not get a better look.
And that'll send Nolan to the bench. Lubin is back into the game for the Huskies.
And one of the things that's really impressive about UConn is the way their guards rebound. Not just Boatwright, but Daniel Hamilton's a really good rebounder. He averages about 5 defensive rebounds a game.
Jefferson quietly averaging about 9 points and 8 rebounds per game. And he's a junior and just keeps getting better and better year by year. Always seems like he's kind of option number 5 out there offensively, but they don't run plays for him. But he gets his work done and he puts up the points.
Yeah, and he's not the type of player that demands that a play be run for him. But he has really made a lot of good decisions in playing off of Jahlil Okafor. An excellent defender and an outstanding offensive rebounder.
7 points, 7 rebounds for Jefferson already. Okafor joins him on the bench. Winslow and Plumlee have returned for Duke. Backdoor cut, stolen away by Suleiman.
Just telegraph that.
Tyus Jones. Plumlee for the rebound. And then Plumlee couldn't handle the pass from Suleiman. Purvis, coast to coast. Boy, a healthy Purvis is going to make a difference for this UConn team this year.
Well, he's such a good driver. Not a great perimeter shooter, but he can really drive the ball.
Connecticut ball.
The turnovers for Duke are piling up in this first half. And many of them have been forced, but a number of them have been unforced. And that ball, after that last play, Purvis just taking it straight at. And when Purvis gets it, when Daniel Hamilton gets it, they don't have to outlet it. They can take it themselves.
Lubin bothered by Plumlee. And we have a Connecticut foul.
When you get your shot blocked, that's not necessarily a bad mistake. You don't want to compound the block by fouling and putting Duke on the free throw line.
Grayson Allen into the game for the first time. The freshman from Jacksonville, averaging about 10 minutes per game. He can shoot it. He is the 4th member of the freshman class.
Can shoot it, and a great athlete. The one thing that UConn does not want to do is keep putting Duke at the free throw line where they can score with no defense. A lot of these fouls, some of these fouls have been kind of what I would call cheap ones when you're fouling 94 feet from the basket. There's no reason for it. You're just giving away points.
A switch, and now Winslow on Boatwright.
Get some size on him, and Winslow a really good defender.
Coming off a screen, Samuel inside to Lubin. Beautifully executed by the Huskies. 4 minutes to go in the half. Connecticut back within 5. Plumlee to screen. Boatwright hawking Allen. Winslow, and Plumlee wasn't expecting the pass. And Boatwright is off to the races. Tyus Jones is fouled and will be at the free throw line when we come back.
Connecticut has brought the pressure to Duke. And with Amita Breimer in foul trouble, the Huskies have been turning over the Blue Devils and taking it the other way. And the Huskies down just 3.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by Sonic's $3.99 foot-long with tots.
I'm Kyle Ravitch, K Jewelers halftime report. 2 good point guards in action right now. Tyus Jones, Ryan Boatwright. Only one, though, in ESPN.com's top 10. Find out which one and who our guys, Seth and Jay Williams, say is the best in the country. Also, while Duke's unbeaten, so is Virginia. Would that streak continue? You'll find out when we come back at the half.
All right, Carl, thank you. 3:16 left in the first half here. Duke 24, UConn 21. Ryan Boatwright, 9 points, 5 rebounds, and 2 steals in 16 minutes of action here in the first half. And let's check it again with Jim Calhoun. Coach, you coached Ryan Boatwright. What'd you like best about him as a player?
Well, he can always get his own shot, as you can see. I think the thing he's done, Jay mentioned it before, he's causing havoc with the Duke half-court defense. You know, UConn has had 6 live ball turnovers. And live ball turnovers, UConn has scored on 5 out of the 6 of them because they're putting so much pressure. And the guy leading off, Boatwright's playing great. And on his defense, maybe just as important as getting the shot for UConn.
You know, right now, UConn has been getting into the paint at will, whether it's off the dribble or off the pass. When they run some of those circle cuts, they have been getting the ball into the paint and scoring. A team that has not shot the ball particularly well.
Purvis traveled again. 8 turnovers committed by Connecticut, 11 turnovers committed by Duke.
It has been a little bit sloppy at times, but the defense has, both these teams have played really hard on the defensive end.
Okafor out to Tyus Jones. Gets by Boatwright. Wide open is Cook. And Okafor fouled.
Boy, what a rebound by Jahlil Okafor. You know, the ball didn't really move early in that possession, but once Okafor passed it out, Duke got about as open a shot as you're going to get. And he goes just right up and over to get that rebound and goes after it with 2 hands. You know, the great rebounders don't go after it with 1. They go after it with 2. And Okafor is maturing into a really good rebounder.
That's the first miss for Duke after 8 consecutive makes. They started 1 for 4 at the line, then made 8 in a row before that miss by Okafor. As Winslow sits down, Jefferson returns. Six-point game. Purvis trying to take Allen, goes by him. Floater is good.
But they have just given up the paint like crazy. And really, if UConn decides they're going to spread Duke out and drive them, they're into the individual defense and team defense for Duke has not been very good in this first half. UConn should take advantage of it. Just continue to drive the ball.
Great pass from Okafor to Jefferson and a chance for 3.
Well, if you come over and double and you decide to go for a steal, you'd better get it. Because if you gamble and don't get it, Okafor is a good passer. And you see, here's the gamble by Terrence Samuel. And that is when the rotation down is in any way late, and it was late by Daniel Hamilton. That's just an easy bucket.
That's the first field goal in better than 7 minutes of action for Duke. They've been getting most of their points recently at the line.
UConn has really turned them over.
How about Jefferson with 10 points now in the first half?
And he's rebounded very well on both ends as well. So you move the defense and then drive it. The UConn's been very successful at that. Anytime they bring a ball screen, they'll get doubled off of it.
Hamilton almost lost it. 3 not there for Purvis. Offensive rebound, Hamilton. That's a tough shot. Somehow he'll bank it home.
That is one talented basketball player. Comes from a basketball family. His older brother Jordan Hamilton played at the University of Texas, now in the NBA with the Houston Rockets. His younger brother Isaac is with UCLA.
Tyus Jones, no. Connecticut ball. Hamilton can do this, but Jones with great hustle on the defensive end to knock it away. Cook. Scoop up, no. And it's Connecticut ball.
Daniel Hamilton, the crossover, the second crossover, and the spin. Boy, the degree of difficulty of these shots.
Cook trying to deny Boatwright. Boatwright's got it, now kicks to Hamilton. Purvis over Suleiman. In and out on the three-point attempt, and now Duke can hold for the final shot, and Mike Krzyzewski will use a timeout.
Rodney Purvis has not gotten anything from the perimeter to fall. He's gotten some wide open shots. He's been much better in transition and taking it to the basket. But some of these shots have simply got to be knocked down. There's just no two ways about it.
5-point lead, Duke over UConn. Let's check in with Andy Katz.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, tomorrow on SportsCenter at 6 o'clock Eastern, and actually prior to that on Outside Lines at ESPN2, I'm going to have an exclusive sit-down with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver to go over all the issues and topics that have occurred in his nearly first year on the job. That's tomorrow, 5:30 Eastern Time on ESPN2 on Outside Lines, and 6 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN on SportsCenter, my sit-down with NBA Commissioner Adam Silver.
All right, Andy, thank you. Looking forward to that. And now Duke can hold for the final shot of the first half. Again, for those who may not have been with us the whole time, not to belabor the point for those who have, but Amita Brima playing only 50 seconds in the first half because of foul trouble. Connecticut 2-3 zone out of the timeout. And they're going to get the ball back. Turnover number 12 committed by Duke.
Smart call by Kevin Ollie to go with that 2-3 zone. And Duke winds up turning it over. Boy, double-digit turnovers for Duke, a team that has not turned it over that much, and you've got to give most, if not all, the credit to this UConn defense. The Huskies have been everywhere defensively, bringing the pressure against Duke.
Can Connecticut get the ball into the hands of Boatwright? They can. He's going to have to hurry.
Didn't get it off.
And the first half will come to a close here at the Izod Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey, with Duke leading Connecticut by 5 at the half. Andy Katz is with Duke Associate Head Coach Jeff Capel.
All right, thank you, Dan. Well, Jeff, your turnovers for Duke here in the first half.
Well, it's something that we haven't done. You have to give a lot of credit to UConn. They're playing their butts off. They're playing really hard. They're getting after us, and it's knocked us back a little bit. We have to be stronger when we get rebounds, stronger when we catch the ball. We have to make stronger decisions.
So Amita Brima has foul trouble. You barely see him in the first half. You're going to see a lot more of him in the second. How does that affect going into Okafor in the second half?
Well, we're still going to go to him, and hopefully we can draw another foul. But we have to be stronger all around. It's not just about Ja. It's about all of our guys being stronger.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks.
Back to you, Dan.
All right, Andy, thank you. Duke and UConn. It always seems to be close between these two. No exception here tonight. Time now for the Kay Jewelers halftime report. Back to the studio. Carl Ravitch, Seth Greenberg, and Jay Williams.
You're watching ESPN's Holiday Hoops, presented by Kay Jewelers.
Tonight's game is a part of ESPN's Journey to the Tourney, presented by Sonic, a season-long spotlight on games that will impact the tournament. We're at the Izod Center in East Rutherford, New Jersey. Big game feel, big game atmosphere between UConn and Duke. As we take a look at the first half stats, Duke did not shoot the ball well, just 32%. UConn turned them over a lot and capitalized by getting into the paint, scoring 18 of their 25 points in the paint. That's not throwing it into the big guys. That's with dribble penetration for the most part. Dan Schulman and Jay Billis back with you. The quickness of Ryan Boatwright and company really showed at times in the first half.
Well, UConn had a great game plan coming into this game, and they played so hard. But on the offensive end, when they've gotten out in transition, they've been able to get to the rim and get some easy baskets. And then the half court, when they have spread Duke out, they've been able to get into the paint. Even off this little circle curl, off that circle action that they run, able to get into the paint. Duke helps uphill. They drop it down. There's no rotation. They get an easy basket at the rim.
Let's check in with Coach Calhoun. Coach, what do you think of the first half?
Well, guys, you know, when UConn went small, they got big because they scored 18-8 in the paint, as you said, Jay, by dribble penetration. I'm just wondering, as they go down the line and Bremer's back, do they stay small? Because, quite frankly, they're giving all kinds of fits to Duke by spacing the floor.
You know, Jim, when you were coaching, you get into a game like this where both teams really pressure, and at times you got to tell your team almost, hey, look, we're not going to get to our second and third option and a progression in these plays that we run. You're going to have to make a play. How often would you tell your guys, get out there and make a play?
Well, if I was playing Duke, be honest, and the kind of pressure we see in this game, Jay, you've got to space the floor and you've got to make a basketball play. You're going to get free, and you want to, you know this expression, you drive, okay, help. Anytime you get recovery to you, you got to drive that ball because they're coming at you to try to help out. Well, when UConn's spacing, and I expect to see kids like Hamilton, there's a play we just see a lot of times with Prima. His penetration caused another 2 points in the paint.
And you know that Mike Krzyzewski was talking to his team at halftime about protecting the paint, and all of a sudden they give up an easy layup off a drive. He is incensed right now.
Welcome back to New Jersey. You're watching the ACC on ESPN. Dan Schulman, Jay Billis, Andy Katz, Jim Calhoun with you here with the Izod Center. And it's a three-point game after Connecticut strikes in their first possession of the second half. Mike Krzyzewski uses a timeout, incensed, as you said, Jay, with his team.
Well, I think he was upset at the dribble penetration, just giving up a middle drive, having to help uphill, and all of a sudden you give up a lob. Ken Facey not even looking at Emil Jefferson, just kind of checking him out with his peripheral vision.
Cook back to a driving Jefferson, rejected by Brima. Well, Brima's played all of about 2 minutes, and he's got 2 blocks in this game. Winslow for 3. And who's got it? Whoa, Winslow. And a big collision with Boatwright. Winslow will be called for his 3rd foul.
That block by Amita Brima looked like a volleyball block by a middle blocker. He went up with both hands and just rejected that.
Wow.
I mean, that's phenomenal.
He's a 7-footer, a sophomore from Ghana, averaging almost 3 blocks per game. The drive by Hamilton. The pull-up goes down, and it's a 1-point game.
UConn just driving at will.
They've got the ball. Here comes Boatwright. And free throws coming for Boatwright.
And Boatwright just able to skirt that charge. Any time in the open floor when Ryan Boatwright's got the ball, good luck staying in front of him. Gives the Connecticut Euro step and just gets an angle so that there's not a charge called. I mean, to say that he's quick is an understatement.
The only lead UConn has had in this game was at 4-3. Duke has trailed for a total of only about 5 minutes all season. They'll trail if Boatwright makes this one. One of 2 tie game.
Okafor needs to touch the ball.
You got to believe Duke wants to try to pick up that third on Brima if they can. He'll give it up to Winslow.
Well, these double teams have been effective. Okafor is such a good passer out of them.
Jefferson getting some looks tonight. Tyus Jones for three. Winslow with a putback.
Boy, what a rebound in traffic.
They'd like to see a little bit more of that. He hasn't been rebounding the ball much recently. Just 11 in his last 4 games coming in.
Such a great athlete. He hadn't had a chance to rebound this one. He's been in foul trouble most of the game.
Hamilton. Boy, a great drive, but missed the finger roll.
So that ball's got to go inside.
Tyus Jones, count it. It is a packed house here at the Izod Center, and it feels like it's pretty much evenly distributed between Duke fans and Connecticut fans. Duke always comes up to the New York, New Jersey area. They play 1 game here in December every year. Of course, Connecticut fans travel well, and they're only a couple of hours away. If you didn't know any better, Jay, you'd say this is an Elite 8 game or something like that.
It's a great atmosphere, and this is the kind of atmosphere the players want to play in.
Hamilton off to Facey. Misses the 8-footer.
UConn's getting open shots. They got to knock them down.
Winslow got it. What a response by Duke. Timeout UConn.
Justice Winslow with the offensive rebound gets inside position on the rotation and then grabs that rebound in traffic right in front of Amita Brima, and then in transition gets all the way to the bucket, left-hander with his right hand finishing. A rough first half because of foul trouble, and right now Kevin Ollie wearing out his troops to get them to play a little bit harder and finish plays, because they've gotten the opportunity in this second half. They've gotten to the basket. They just haven't finished plays and haven't finished defensive possessions by grabbing the rebound.
A battle of freshmen on the wing between Justice Winslow and Daniel Hamilton, 2 extraordinarily talented young men. Winslow out of Houston and Hamilton from Los Angeles.
And whenever UConn in this ball game, especially in the second half, when they get in any kind of side ball screen situation, Duke has been icing that or downing it, trying to keep it on that side. And UConn's going to have to counter that effectively. And they haven't countered it particularly well early on in the second half.
Brima. Boatwright trapped in the corner. Gets out of it. Winslow stays down on the shot fake by Hamilton. Now Boatwright.
Got a switch. So Winslow on Boatwright.
For 3. Wide right. Rebound Cook.
Boatwright playing so hard on both ends. And you wonder, does fatigue, and he's not a guy that gets tired easily because he plays so many minutes. But this kind of minutes at this level of intensity takes a toll on you.
Did Brima just pick up his 3rd? Yes, he did. Amita Brima is trying to stay with Okafor as he got screened down on the baseline. His 3rd foul of the game. And potentially decision time for Kevin Ollie. Here's a look at it, wrapping the arm around Okafor. That's number 3 on Brima. Back at the Izod Center, a 6-point lead now for Duke, and Amita Brima just picked up his 3rd foul, played less than a minute in the first half. Let's look at all 3 fouls, Joe.
Yeah, he's only played 5 or 6 minutes total, and this was the foul that put him in a lot of trouble. You can't pick up a blocking foul on the baseline, especially when you're a 7-foot shot blocker. Now that last one, there's not much you can do about it. You know, you're going to get tangled up and pick up a foul here or there, but you can't do it trying to take a charge, especially when you don't have the angle on the baseline.
Brima also getting a little bit of medical attention on the bench. Let's check in again with Jim Calhoun's going to talk to us a little bit about that 6-0 Duke run.
Well, they led early with fast break. And then UConn got them into an ugly game, half court, and turned them over with pressure. Then they opened the court up again, and the game changed right back, and they go up 6 points. The fast break was the key.
Offensive rebound, and the second opportunity goes. Okafor with a putback. All of a sudden, Jay, after it was tied moments ago, largest lead of the game for Duke.
Well, Duke got to the free throw line in the first half, and now they are really going to the offensive glass. Winslow, Jefferson, Okafor, and Okafor averages 4 offensive rebounds a game. When that ball goes up, everybody just jumping. No, Philip Nolan didn't turn around to get a body into Jahlil Okafor. I mean, that's 6'11", 270 pounds with a 7'4" wingspan. Can't jump with that.
As you can see, Duke with a distinct advantage on the glass tonight.
Well, they're bigger at almost every position. They may not be as tall when Brima's in the game, having a 7-footer out there, but Duke has got the bulk advantage at every spot.
Hamilton, the lob, and Facey missed the jam. Boy, they executed it perfectly. Wide open, Tyus Jones, air ball on the 3. Samuel, long bounce pass, Hamilton, and the putback good for Facey.
Facey tipped that in with the left hand. Boy, you take a quick shot. If that one didn't hit anything that Tyus Jones took, it was a great shot in transition. He just missed it, and UConn turned that into a quick bucket.
Winslow missed the layup.
That was a design play for him to just slide down into the low post. Both teams are getting opportunities they have to just start making. At some point, you got to make shots. They're getting the shots they want. You got to make them.
Boatwright, a little bit out of control, turns it over. Jones shovels it ahead for Cook.
And how about that pass by Tyus Jones? Well, Ryan Boatwright complaining that he got fouled. Well, he is having to work awfully hard to get anything out there.
Facey needs some help. Barely finds Samuel. Pull up from the baseline, too strong. Cook into Okafor, guarded by Nolan, spins around him and slams it home. Duke fans to their feet, 12-2 run Blue Devils.
That's why you want to double team Jahlil Okafor. Like one-on-one, you're not stopping a guy with that skill level and those feet.
And another turnover. And a foul by Samuel. And that's been called a flagrant 1. Carl Hess with a call. Kevin Ollie not happy. 2 shots in the ball.
Just wrapped him up to keep him from getting to the bucket. Well, clearly that was intentional. I don't know that that was excessive.
Right. And again, there is no such thing as what used to be known as an intentional foul in college basketball is now referred to as a flagrant 1, and that could be either excessive contact or a play not on the ball. And this is big. 2 free throws and Duke retains possession.
Well, he was reaching for the ball. Clearly he was trying to foul.
On the intentional foul, it is Duke basketball.
And Brima has got a couple of problems, foul trouble and continuing to get some work done over on the UConn bench. He has played sparingly in this game.
Well, this game's starting to get away from UConn. That same play trying to post up Justice Winslow. Missed the first one. You know, having a guy of Winslow's size, you know, he's going to be guarded usually by a guard or a small wing, and he's so, you know, 6'6" and strong. He could just take him down to the low post.
Omar Calhoun giving up a lot of size in the matchup with Winslow right now. Back into Okafor, double by Nolan. Open is Cook. And Jefferson, great work on the offensive glass.
Well, he knows he has learned to play not only without the ball and without being a primary option, but he's played so well off of Okafor. He's being blocked out by a guard and a strong guard in Rodney Purvis. and just fights that block out, doesn't surrender to it, and winds up coming away with the ball.
Look at these numbers. He's got 12 rebounds already in this game. You talked about Okafor averaging about 4 offensive rebounds per game. Jefferson's not far behind, about 3.5.
Well, until that 20 rebound game against Elon, Jefferson had been the top rebounder and top offensive rebounder. But you get 10 offensive rebounds in one game, as Okafor did against Elon. That tends to improve your numbers a little.
Okafor to the bench, Plumlee back in.
It's kind of like Brima's 40 points. You know, Amita Brima, he scored, 96 points on the season. 40 of them came in one game, 54 in his last 2.
Brima checks back in. And now Okafor getting a little work done on the Duke bench.
Teams need pit crews, not trainers.
10th all-time meeting between Duke and UConn. All of them on neutral courts. Duke leading the all-time series 5-4, but Connecticut has won 4 of the last 5 as Cook is called for the foul. Duke 9-0 ranked second. UConn 4-3 unranked on the season. Number 2 on Cook.
Well, Quinn Cook has done such a good job for Duke in his senior season. Both he and Tyus Jones have made a really good backcourt. You know, oftentimes you don't see 2 point guards playing together, but it has worked out really well on this team.
Brima won't shoot it from out there, won't even look at the basket. Kicks it out from underneath the basket. Offensive rebound, Facey. Plumlee with a rejection.
Well, UConn had some opportunities. Couldn't knock down the perimeter shot, couldn't get anything to go inside. Those are the kind of things that they can deflate you.
Touched by UConn into the backcourt. Winslow retrieves. Cook from the wing. Calhoun ahead to Boatwright. Boatwright the spin and draws the foul.
Little body seeking by Ryan Boatwright. So difficult to contain in the open court and difficult to contain in the low post. Jahlil Okafor. The quick spin as he catches the ball in the post. You don't bring the double. He's going to spin right off Philip Nolan. And the above the rim finish. Okafor's been outstanding.
Back of the guys out center now, a 13-point lead for Duke over UConn, and Jahlil Okafor asserting himself down low on occasion here in the second half, Jay.
Well, we talked about before the game that Okafor is the quickest from the catch to the release in college basketball. He catches it, a great catch off a very difficult feed, and gets that ball up off the backboard in 0.8 seconds. And most players, you make them catch it a step or 2 off the lane in the post, and you've done your work. But with Okafor, he can spin off, he can face up and drive it, he can shoot it. He's very difficult to contain, and he has dominated Amita Brima in this ballgame. Now, Brima's been in foul trouble, but with only 5 shot attempts to have 9 points, that's very efficient. 7 rebounds, only 1 assist, but he's made some really good passes out of the post.
As we took a look at the latest dish, brought to you by Dish. Brima really limited because of the foul trouble in this game. A 12-point deficit now for Connecticut.
And really for UConn, Hamilton and Purvis are going to have to get some things done when they're out on the court. They're a combined 6 of 17 in the game, and they've had some openings. So 2-2-1 3-quarter court pressure.
And Boatwright, who's an 82% free throw shooter, is 3 for 6 in the game.
Back into a 2-3 zone.
Suleiman to a driving Jones, 10-footer short. Rebounds loose. Boatwright, a great play ahead to Rodney Purvis.
Well, that is just big time. Great awareness by Ryan Boatwright. I like the switch of defenses. Kevin Ollie just trying to keep Duke off balance, give him a different look. Don't let him get used to any one thing.
You know, it's a lot of fun in a game like this. You got Rip Hamilton sitting just to our left. He's all fired up for UConn. You got Kyrie Irving here. He's all fired up for Duke. A packed house here with the Izod Center. Good ball movement by Duke, and they get a clean look against the zone. They will. It'll be Cook for three.
Well, how about that pass?
There's Kyrie Irving. The assist to Okafor on the three by Cook, and the lead is now 13. Purvis, 17-footer not there. Suleiman, a good block out for the rebound.
Boy, that was a great block out on Kenton Facey.
Suleiman at the other end. And Ibrahima with a rebound. Boatwright all the way. And he is fouled by Cook and will shoot a couple.
He's so good at attacking in transition. But how about that pass against the 2-3 zone by Jahlil Okafor? Catches in the short corner, dribbles out, and with one gigantic hand finds the open man cross court. Now, how many 6'11" guys are going to throw a bullet like that, let alone a freshman?
On his way, it would appear, to a double-double with 9 points and 8 rebounds. Winslow returns for Duke. Hamilton returns for Connecticut.
You know, Connecticut's just got to find others to score. I mean, Kenton Facey's got a couple of buckets. He's played well in this one, but you know, Kevin Ollie needs to have not just a second scorer, but a third scorer. Ryan Boatwright cannot carry this entire offense on his own.
Ibrahima is scoreless in this game. Hamilton's got 6, but on 3 of 9 from the field. Purvis, a guy who's had some opportunities. 11-point lead, Blue Devils, past the midway point of the second half.
And really nobody from UConn's knocked down a perimeter shot. Everything they've had has been going to the basket in transition or in the half court. And they haven't gotten to the free throw line.
Okafor wants a touch. Bryma's got 3 fouls. Bryma's got 4 fouls.
Nothing he can do. Okafor just handles that ball like a grapefruit. He catches it in one hand, holds it out. It's almost like he's toying with him. And there's not much that Amit Ibrahima can do. He tried to keep his body in front, but Okafor is so much bigger and stronger.
So Ibrahima will head back to the bench. He has played less than 9 minutes in this game because of the foul trouble.
Take a good look at this guy. You're not going to see him in college next year. There's not a better big guy in college basketball.
Could very easily be the #1 pick in the NBA draft, and there are all kinds of NBA GMs and scouts here watching this game tonight.
Well, Jahlil Okafor is a good reason to tank.
You're not implying that.
I don't have to imply it. It's happening. It's so obvious.
There's a foul on Suleiman.
You know, it's the way now in the NBA that you can get good. You have to get really bad in order to get good. And if you're really smart about it, you can get some good draft picks and stay bad for another year.
Let's check in with Coach Calhoun again.
You know, Jay, he may have the best set of hands I've ever seen. He's got balls out of his area because he can get anything. It's like a vacuum cleaner. He's wide, he's strong. You're right, but he gets everything. He's amazing, really. He's a terrific player.
You know, it's amazing, Jim. I've been trying to find out, like, who does he remind you of? There's no real, to me, comp for Jahlil Okafor. I can't think of anybody in the NBA say, oh yeah, he's exactly like that guy.
No, because he does what he can do, and he does it well. He's going to get even better. But you know, we still got a game here, but he's definitely a presence every game he plays on. That's the thing. He shows up, the game starts. He's a legitimate presence because you got to be aware of him every single moment. And you said, Jay, he's had 5 or 6 good passes, which may have not gone for assists, but they're terrific passes. The pass to the pass.
Putting up incredible numbers. That 3 by Boatwright, by the way, was the first made 3 of the night for Connecticut. And it's now a 9-point game. Jones, what a finish, and fouled as well.
Tyus Jones never took his eyes off the rim. Your eyes make layups. This wasn't quite a layup, but he goes in that, never took his eyes off the rim. Got smacked right in the face, aptly by the, well, right across the face. Didn't actually hit him. From that top angle, looked like he did, but he never took his eyes off the rim.
Jones and Okafor, best buddies, really committed as a tandem to Duke, and both freshmen have lived up to and perhaps beyond even the hefty expectations that they brought with them to Durham.
You know, we've talked about Quinn Cook being a tremendous leader this year, but one of the reasons he's been such a good leader is because Tyus Jones has kind of allowed that. You know, he's the point guard, and there's not been a leadership struggle between the two.
Yep.
You know, they've shared the leadership duties on this team. That's not really the norm.
Hamilton with a runner, 10-point game. Connecticut with some pressure, but Duke breaks it.
Immediately that low post. A good job by Philip Nolan to deny that quick post to Jahlil Okafor.
Jefferson turns it over.
It's not unusual in this day and age to start freshmen, but to start freshmen of this ability level and poise, Tyus Jones and Jahlil Okafor have both been very good against UConn.
ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. Infinity, luxury cars that deliver inspired performance. And Taco Bell. The new way to Taco Bell is here, only in the app.
And welcome back to the Izod Center. It's a 10-point lead for Duke over UConn, 7:36 to go. Let's check in again with Jim Calhoun. Coach, what does UConn have to do in your mind if they're going to make a run at them?
Well, they started a little bit by Hamilton making a run, and Jay mentioned they need someone else. Well, they do, and someone's going to have to help vote. Without question, if they can make it a little bit ugly, they got to dig down the post. They got to take a couple more chances defensively. Maybe wait a little time to get Breimer under 5 minutes back, but hang in the game. But the biggest thing, I think, they need help because right now they're doing a great job on the best job they can, as you said before, Jay, certainly on Ryan Boatwright. But he can hopefully draw a couple, and they need a few more baskets from other people.
Yeah, one of the ways they got him in the first half, as you know better than anybody, was forcing turnovers. In the second half, UConn hasn't been as adept at turning Duke over. Duke's only got 2 turnovers in the second half after 12 in the first.
Boatwright surrounded in the corner, and he will use a timeout.
But when you can keep the ball in the middle of the floor, you're not going to have established help side, and UConn's not been able to do that of late.
Well, as you get set to enjoy the holidays, don't forget that on the 27th of this month, the journey to the tourney presented by Sonic continues. Number 1 and undefeated Kentucky at number 4 and undefeated Louisville at 2 p.m. Eastern time on ESPN2. What do you think the atmosphere, what do you think the electricity inside the Yum Center is going to be like on that afternoon, Jim?
I don't think anybody in that building is going to be able to hear, and it may be the best opportunity that anyone has to beat Kentucky in this regular season. We talked about Montrezl Harrell of Louisville being a Player of the Year candidate before the season started, but Willie Cauley-Stein has put himself into that running. He has been phenomenal, just terrific all season long, especially on the defensive end. There's not been a better defender in the country than Willie Cauley-Stein this year.
Back to the action, UConn ball. Shot clock's at 10. Boatwright. Purvis threw it right into the hands of Cook.
Just had no thought of what to do and left the floor without. You have to leave the floor in that situation to score, not to pass.
Okafor dumps it down to Winslow. Purvis the foul.
Third time they've run that play just to isolate Justice Winslow down in the low post. He's going to be posting against a guard.
And Kevin Ollie is going to make a substitution. We'll see if it's Purvis coming out, and it is. Terrence Samuel will take his place.
Putting the big man for Duke up by the elbows pulls the shot blockers away from the basket, and that just allows a guy like Winslow to have an easy post and dive into the post from the wing or the corner. And just get one-on-one coverage. It's so difficult for a guard to play post defense like that.
One of two for Winslow.
And Duke has really hurt UConn from the free throw line.
Boatwright for three. His second of the half.
Guy's a one-man wrecking crew.
19 of their 45.
You can't press him. You can't stay in front of him. You just have to make everything difficult, and just about every shot he has taken has been a difficult shot. Now Daniel Hamilton guarding Winslow was able to stop him on that quick post.
Okafor wants the ball and gets it.
Well, whatever he wants, he should get.
Cook stepped out of bounds. And he's saying he called timeout. But it's Connecticut ball. 6 minutes to go. Boy, they're a bucket here, Jay, from bringing their fans to their feet here at the Izod Center.
And all eyes defensively need to be on Ryan Boatwright.
Let's go Huskies, the chant here in Jersey right now. Hamilton for three. Around and out, and Jefferson down with yet another rebound.
Duke going with a double team to get it out of Boatwright's hands, make somebody else make a play, and thus far in the game, no one else has really been able to make that play.
Mike Krzyzewski will use a timeout. Capital One Bowl Mania kicks off on a Saturday. We got a trio bowl games for you. Nevada against Louisiana Lafayette, Utah State, UTEP, and then Utah and Colorado State all Saturday.
You know, Dan, the timeout that Duke just had was for a specific reason, and that was so they didn't get a 10-second call in the backcourt. This is a rule that has to change. It has to change.
100%.
By calling that timeout, Duke gets another 10 seconds in the backcourt. And I don't know why it's so difficult for us to change this rule.
Because right now there should be one because they're at 26, right?
Everybody on the planet agrees this is a horrible rule, and we can't change it. I don't know what it takes.
Because UConn has just not been given any credit for 9 seconds of really good defense.
9 seconds of really good defense, and now Duke gets to casually bring it across. And it's just wrong.
Couldn't agree with you more. 15 now on the shot clock. Ooh, that's a tough one there called on Nolan. That is his fourth. Rima's got 4. He's hardly played. Nolan's got 4. Lubin's been in the game at times guarding Okafor as well.
Well, you just had to get to the baseline side because he had a double team. Kenton Facey was coming over. That double team's just got to get there a little bit quicker.
Rima back in. Rima 40 points and 12 rebounds against Coppin State in Connecticut's last game. No points and 1 rebound in 8 minutes and 41 seconds of action here tonight.
Brima got so many of those points off dribble penetration and drop-offs. He must have had 8 or 9 dunks in that game.
And again, shot 13 for 13 from the field, 14 for 16 from the line. 2 free throws for Okafor. 10-point game.
Samuel with the ball. That means Ryan Boatwright is able to work off screens.
Boatwright the drive and blocked from behind by Jefferson. Stolen away by Samuel. Facey draws the foul.
Emil Jefferson has had really a great game. For him to come over, make that play, and stay with it. And he wound up having to give up the foul in order to stop Facey from scoring after the steal. But that's just an alert basketball play. Coming over with the left hand, knocking that away. He has done a really good job as a quote-unquote role player. He's been a star in his role in this game.
How about 11 points, 13 rebounds, and a couple of blocks for Emil Jefferson tonight. Facey makes the first. Connecticut cannot afford to leave any points on the free throw line if they hope to mount a comeback. Pressure.
Facey on the ball. Is their 55 defense. They're a full court man.
And a bump by Samuel, and Kevin Ollie is not happy.
Not sure whether it was the arm being down. I mean, it was near incidental contact. And I can't really blame Kevin Ollie for being upset with that. It's in the backcourt. Basketball is a physical game. There's going to be some contact, and there's been a lot more contact on drives in this one than that.
And Duke doing some damage at the line.
They've done a ton of damage at the line. That's been maybe the separating factor of the game.
Boatwright, who I don't believe has come off the court here in the second half. And the ball in his hands so much, being asked to do so much for UConn. Brima. And the putback for Facey.
Facey just a ball hunter. He's just going to get better and better as a player. Graduated high school at 16.
Cook can't shed Boatwright.
Duke now being patient, trying to use as much of the clock. If it's there early, take it. If not, use the clock.
Here comes the double again on Okafor. He finds the open man. It's Winslow. Samuel leads the break. Pinned up against the glass, and then the follow is good to make it a 6-point game. And we have Terrence Samuel down and injured and holding his right leg.
Well, that was a meeting at the summit. But that blocked shot took everybody out of the play and allowed Brima to clean that up.
Timeout on the floor as they tend to Samuel. Winslow with the rejection. And it's Facey again with a putback to make it a 6-point game. We'll update you on the status of Samuel when we come back. Terrence Samuel had to be helped off the court during the timeout. Did not put any weight on his right leg. We'll get you another look. It was after the drive, and Winslow pinned the ball up against the glass. And then as Samuel and Winslow came down to the court, right there, you can see the left foot of Winslow landing on the right foot or right ankle, Jay, of Samuel.
It's a difficult play. I mean, he released the ball, and I think the officials would tell us, well, after the ball's been released, therefore it's incidental contact. I've never really kind of understood that, because if he released a 3-point shot and got hit, they'd give him three free throws.
Meanwhile, more pressure from UConn. They're making a run right now. Got it back within 6 and a lot of time left in this one.
Now, this is where you need a stop. Trying to make a comeback. Consecutive stops are vital. And Duke's spreading them out. They're going to use some clock here.
Down to 10.
One thing you don't want to do is foul.
Jones into the corner. Winslow will launch it and hit it for 3.
Duke really spread the floor out and spread out that UConn defense.
Boatwright, and Winslow sniffed that one out. So a 3 and a steal by Winslow in the last 30 seconds.
And now you got big guys that are having to guard out on the floor. Kenton Facey having to come out and get Winslow.
And so many different options to handle the ball for Duke. Suleiman, Cook, and finally Tyus Jones just got leveled. Purvis had been all over him the entire trip down the court.
It's not a smart play by Rodney Purvis. You don't want to foul there. You're getting down to late in the clock. It was under 15.
And it's double bonus, too.
Yeah, Duke has been smart with the clock in these last few possessions.
Sometimes at the end of a game, the numbers that Tyus Jones has put up can kind of sneak up on you a little bit because he's sneaky quiet in how many different ways he can impact a basketball game.
He's not a flashy guard and not the type of breakdown guard that's going to have you saying wow, kind of like Ryan Boatwright does with the ball. But he just makes smart play after smart play.
Got 21 and 5 rebounds and 3 assists and 2 steals.
You know, and in the biggest games, he's been at his best. Yep. Nobody was better against Wisconsin than Tyus Jones.
It was 6 moments ago. It's 11 right now. The Blue Devils in the lead. Well, Mike Krzyzewski, although he doesn't want to talk about it, and you can understand why. It's all about the process and just getting his team ready for the next game. He is closing in on an incredible milestone. He is 8 wins away from 1,000 in his career. Let's look at the upcoming schedule for Duke. It's going to happen at some point in January. If Duke keeps winning, if they don't lose between now and January the 17th, then Mike Krzyzewski will go for win number 1,000 at Louisville.
I wonder what they'll give him. They'll probably give him like a ball or something. That'd be really cool. What do you give a guy that's got 999 wins?
We don't know because it's never happened before.
It's amazing, really. I mean, it's hard to even fathom that many wins.
Another Hall of Famer in the building, Jim Calhoun. Coach, when you think about 1,000 wins, what comes to mind?
A long time, a lot of whistles, a lot of yelling, but more importantly, the coach of our generation. You know, I coached basketball the last 40 years, and that's the coach of our generation. He's pretty special, and he deserves all the accolades you get. He's a very special person, very special coach.
Now, a lot of mutual respect and admiration between Jim Calhoun and Mike Krzyzewski. The bounce for Daniel Hamilton down to 9.
UConn's got a couple guys that can make individual plays. Hamilton's one of them. Hadn't made as many in this game.
And Suleiman stepped over the end line and gives it back to UConn.
That's a really difficult turnover for Duke, and one that is very much unforced. I'll see if UConn can take advantage of it.
Boatwright for 3. Got it!
There is just no quit in that guy. Duke fortunate catching that in the corner where they can be trapped.
3rd 3 of the second half for Ryan Boatwright.
So this is a difficult cover for Kenton Facey on Rashid Suleiman.
Again, Duke content to run the clock down. Jones dumps it off for Okafor. And a foul against UConn.
Looked like he shuffled his feet first.
And that's it for Brima. What a frustrating night for him.
You know what, he didn't. He kept that foot down when he caught it. It was maybe when he pump faked it looked like a travel, but Brima coming up with the foul, and Okafor goes to the line. But boy, when he first caught it, he kept that foot down.
.5 minutes of action, no points, 1 rebound, and a foul-plagued evening for Amida Brima. And Brima, on at least 2, maybe 3 of the fouls, has had such a pained look on his face, Jay, as if to say, what am I supposed to do? He is seeking me out. He's initiating the contact, he being Okafor.
And that's why he's got to get stronger. You know, I agree with you that some of those fouls were not, you know, heavy-duty contact. But he's got to get stronger to be able to absorb some of that. And I think he will.
He's given up about 40 pounds in the matchup to Okafor. Brima's a much improved player over a year ago. He has become a significant factor for UConn. Not just a shot blocker, and not just in the Coppin State game offensively, but it was a rough night for him tonight. Okafor, it's tipped back in. Was that Winslow?
Looked like Winslow with the left hand.
What a huge play that was for Duke.
Every time UConn has gotten close or had a chance, Duke's made a play.
Purvis forces it. Duke ball.
Just a poor possession for UConn. Free throw blockout. Something as simple as a free throw blockout. And nobody gets a body at all on Justice Winslow, and he gets a free run to the basket. And Kevin Ollie knows, that talk about a self-inflicted wound when you can't get a free throw blockout taken care of.
And it is Connecticut ball.
And Connecticut basically gets a triple team on the ball, knocks it away.
And Kevin Ollie will use a timeout. His last one. Kevin Ollie, a guy who played 13 years in the NBA for 11 different teams, played for 15 different coaches. Hall of Famer Jim Calhoun is with us tonight. Larry Brown, George Karl, Chuck Daly, Don Nelson. Think he picked up a thing or two along the way?
Well, it shows you that Kevin Ollie is a survivor. You look at all the different teams he played for in the NBA. Actually had his career high in college at 24 points against Duke.
That's right, back in 1994.
We asked him yesterday, well, who guarded you? And he said, Wojo.
Sorry, Wojo. Back to Jim Calhoun. Coach, you coached Kevin Ollie. Did you see a coach in the making back then?
I saw an incredible person and a fighter. He fought his way through the CBA, fought his way through 13 years in the league, and now has turned into a terrific coach. Great person. You know, I wanted him to come to UConn. I wanted him because I thought he'd be great for all the kids in the program, because he would be the role model that I wanted our kids to be. I wanted our players to be Kevin Ollie.
And a lot of times when you see a guy who is as well-traveled as Kevin Ollie was, you say, boy, there must have been a problem there. Everybody wanted him. They wanted him to come in and mentor their young players, and that's what he did stop after stop in the NBA.
Yeah, he's done a tremendous job, and a great locker room guy in the NBA, and has proven to be an outstanding coach. You mentioned the tutelage under all those outstanding coaches in the NBA, but none more important than our colleague now, Jim Calhoun, one of the great coaches of all time.
Sitting right behind the Connecticut bench. Duke with an 8-point lead. Connecticut's got the ball. 1:03 to go. Duke, one of 9 remaining unbeatens, trying to run their record to 10-0.
And really right now, Duke has got to run UConn off of that 3-point line, especially Ryan Boatwright. You give up a 2, that's one thing, but you don't want to give up that.
Missed the 3, and Tyus Jones with a rebound for Duke.
And right now, UConn's got a foul. They don't have the luxury of waiting.
And Duke with a lot of different ball handlers and guys who can shoot free throws.
Well, especially this guy, Quinn Cook, is basically automatic from the free throw line. And you talk about a separating factor in a game.
Cook is 13 for 14 shooting free throws on the season.
This was not an easy game in which to play. And I think Duke's got to feel very good to come into this environment, right after finals and all the distractions that you have in in December, and be able to play in a February, March type environment and come out on top.
They get a long break now. A lot of the players are going home for the holidays right from here. Their next game is not until the 29th against Toledo. Connecticut's next game will be on Monday against Columbia. And a turnover.
Yeah, a week long is unusual. A week-long break for basketball players is unusual. And I'll tell you, after 4 or 5 days during Christmas break, the worst practice of the year is always right after the holiday. It's no fun for the coaches, but it's definitely no fun for the players.
Well, Connecticut fights hard, but in the end, it'll be the Duke Blue Devils who will win again. Go to 6-4 all-time in the series against UConn and go to 10-0 on the season, the #2 team in the nation. Getting big nights from Tyus Jones. Double figures for 5 different players tonight. A double-double for Emil Jefferson, 11 points, 13 rebounds. Good night for Okafor. Shot clock violation with a half-second left. And Mike Krzyzewski will pick up win number 993 as Duke goes to 10-0 on the season. That's a formality, but Connecticut will just inbound the ball. They'll put a little bit of time back on the clock. And that'll be all. A 10-point win for the Blue Devils. Kevin Ollie's team falls to 4-4, including a couple of one-point losses. They're 4-4 on the season. Duke is 10-0. A big game feel in a sold-out building here, the Izod Center in East Rutherford. Boatwright, boy, he left everything he had on the court, but it wasn't enough tonight as Duke wins 66-56. Not only are they 10-0, Jay, they've won all 10 games by 10 or more points.
Just an excellent offensive basketball team that's going to get better and better. And Duke's defense much better this year than it was last. That could be the difference in an early exit and a chance to win this whole thing. They're in the conversation.
Jahlil Okafor, 12 points and 8 rebounds tonight. And some very good passing as well on a variety of occasions, as we saw. Mike Krzyzewski, some thoughts for Ryan Boatwright and the effort that he gave on the court tonight.
Well, Boatwright was absolutely terrific.
The final again from the Izod Center here in East Rutherford. Duke 66 and Connecticut 56. SportsCenter is next here on ESPN. For Jay Billis, Jim Calhoun, Andy Katz, I'm Dan Schulman. Thanks for watching. Back to SportsCenter. More coming up momentarily on this game here tonight.